And that verse inspired me to speak a little bit about the glories of Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhumyam nipatito tatra tadrishu yamala-arjuna.
Qu'est-ce que je peux chanter comme là-dessus?
Bhumyam nipatito tatra tadrishu yamala-arjuna.
On découpe en deux, c'est ça?
Ouais, c'est ça.
Bhumyam nipatito tatra.
Bhumyam nipatito tatra tadrishu yamala-arjuna. Vabramusta vigyaya Laksham patana karanam Bhumyam nipatito tatra. C'est le prochain verset. Kashyedam kuta ashcharyam Utpatat iti katara. Translation. They saw the powerful yamala-arjuna trees fall on the ground. They were unrooted, and their beloved attached to a mortar, a rope on his belly, and he was staying there intact in between the two trees alone. They were confused into knowing who was at the origin of this event, who caused the falling of these powerful Arjuna trees. They expressed then that this could be a bad omen, and they felt themselves rather confused. Nanda Maharaj and the other Gopas saw the two trees completely unrooted that were lying down on the floor, although it is possible to understand the cause of the falling of these trees at this place. They were disturbed and they were bewildered and could not understand. The Harivamsha describes the situation. How do these two trees, big like a coward house, did they fall down without wind nor rain, without being hit by the thunder or being attacked by elephants? In reality, the cowherd boys of Braj understood that Krishna provoked the fall of the two yamala-arjuna trees. But because of their love for Krishna, they could not think that it was that way. They were doubting that such a small child could do such a thing. They expressed their doubts. Who did this? Why this astonishing event happened to this boy? It is our good fortune that the Lord Narayan protected him. By thinking in this way, the cowherd boys were filled with excitation. They saw the child who was there, that was throwing vigorously the mortar. He was attached with the mortar with a rope. This description explained that he could not understand the strength of the child, and he was thinking that he was weak. But the word cha explains that they saw the marks of the attraction of the traction of the mortar in between the two trees, they could not understand what had happened, because Krishna was only a small child, a small baby, could not do this act, this astonishing event, which, or what did make the trees fall down, and why, if the demigods or the demons did it, why did they do it? They concluded that it was a catastrophe. They were disturbed, concerned about the security of the child.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Sarasvati Devi Kaunamani Prachayani Nirveshesha Sunyavadi Prachata. So
this happens in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and these two gigantic trees were extremely beautiful, and they were giving peace to the place. The trees, when they are magnificent, when they are full of, they are decorated. They're decorated with a beautiful platform. When there are beautiful flowers, beautiful gardens, with types of how do we call it? Like a fountain? There are fountains. Then the trees give an extraordinary dimension to the place. And so there are places which have a power of attraction, of peace, that is truly powerful. And the cowherd boys, they hear a noise that is very strong, like the thunder, because these two trees, they trampled. So they didn't see the two devas that came out of the trees and which offered prayers to Krishna. And when they arrived, they saw the small child, Krishna, who is their life itself. Why? Because Krishna has a beauty of a dimension that we cannot understand. Because all beauty, all qualities come from Him. So everything harmonizes with Him. And since He is in a conception of sweetness, then everybody nourishes from themselves from this beauty. When there is strength, it manifests. He manifests Himself. We're like catapulted by this beauty. We cannot, by this strength, we cannot understand it. But sweetness is something that we can see because it is sweet. For example, when the Kumaras, they saw Narayan, they did not understand his beauty. He was trembling, he was crying. They had symptoms of ecstasy, but they could not understand the Lord Narayan. Still, they were drinking something, but they could not understand it. This is the power of the Lord. But the sweetness of the Lord allows to drink His beauty. So in Braj, everyone drinks Krishna's beauty. That is why everything is harmonized with sweetness, whereas in Vaikuntha, everything is harmonized with power. while it is true, of course, that those who are in Vaikuntha, they drink the beauty of Lord Narayan because they have a qualification. But the four Kumaras did not have the qualification, so they could not understand it because they were Gyanis. And through knowledge, we cannot drink the beauty. It's not possible. It is the reason why the four Kumaras could not understand this beauty. They could not understand it. All that was coming to them, and it could pierce them, they could not understand it. Whereas in Braj, there's a greater power of drinking the beauty. That is why Krishna harmonizes himself in this place. He becomes one amongst the others. It is very interesting. So, when the cowherd boys arrived in this wonderful place, but the peace had been destroyed by the shattering of the noise of the trees and the fact of seeing these enormous trees falling with the child in the middle, there was naturally a form of distress. Why? Because the form of power appeared. You understand? But the sweetness of Krishna is always hidden. But there's a great power that is manifested. Immense trees that are falling down. There's no wind. There's no rain. There's no thunder. How is that possible? Who can do this? So he looks, he's searching. What is the cause? And at the same time, everybody is absorbed, attracted by the beauty of the child. There is, from one side, the frightening, and from the other side, attraction. These are the pastimes of Krishna when he comes to Boma Vrindavan. There's a form of power that manifests itself, of misunderstanding and attraction, all combined together to give a feeling that is new in the cowherd boys. Because in the original Golok, there are no trees that fall down like this. There are no disturbances in this way. So Krishna creates an infinite diversity. That is why he comes in the material world. Because he offers feelings that are always new in the heart of his devotees. And we see, when he observes the scene, Krishna is there with a mortar attached, with a rope that is extremely long. But they cannot even notice the length of the rope because they are absorbed in the beauty. But they see the prints on the trees, the marks. So there's a proof that it is the attraction of a mortar that make the trees fall down. But how is that possible that such a small child would, and so sweet, would be the cause of the fall of the trees? You understand? It is a dilemma. Because for them, Krishna is a child without strength. Because he manifests so much sweetness. So much sweetness. A little child, we can see that is without strength. But when Krishna manifests unlimited sweetness, it is more than a normal child. The need of the living entities to come in the aid of Krishna is much stronger than an ordinary child. An ordinary child will see him, we will feel that he is tender, that he is small, that he needs protection, but it is very limited. It is very limited because the sweetness of the child is very limited. But when Krishna manifests himself in the form of a child, this is not the proper time, it's been many days. When there's no power battery, we need to change it. So when Krishna manifests the sweetness, it is an unlimited sweetness. So if there's an unlimited sweetness, two enormous trees that have fell down, and they see that there is this, due to the attraction of the mortar, and it's this unlimited sweetness will be the cause of these trees falling down. That is enormous disturbance. How is that possible? They drown in sweetness, and at the same time in the total confusion, bewilderment. So it causes a meditation on sweetness. How is that possible? They taste the sweetness. They remember the sweetness of Krishna's body, the smell of his body, the sweet moments spent with him. Because all of this comes. It is a very powerful meditation that enters in them, a form of ecstasy that is unlimited. And at the same time, this supposition, these marks are there on these trees. It says it's impossible. Can you believe it? Because the meditation comes, the experience of Krishna comes in an unlimited way. And at the same time, they don't understand. It is impossible. But why are these marks are there? At the same time, it comes back. And all the sweetness of Krishna comes back. It is a churning of the ocean of Vatsalya Ras. It's not possible. But still, there are marks. This is the meditation on one verse. It can be unlimited. Unlimited. Like waves of an ocean. Just 3 small lines. This is the Bhagavatam. That is why we need to be a servant. We need to liberate ourselves from pride. Because if you have desires for yourself, never you will be able to pierce the glories of the Bhagavatam even at a small level. Never a moment of the Bhagavatam will be revealed to you. We have to be a servant. The deities are there. You belong to them. It is your life. Just like the inhabitants of Braj. Gopalela, Nandamaj, Yashodamayi is there. This should be your meditation. If you have not given your heart and it disturbs you to serve, then nothing will be revealed to you. That is why we must be a servant. We have to understand that they are coming for you. So you must give yourself to them. If they come for you and you don't give yourself, then it is spoiled. It's a failure. And as long as you do not accept this reality, you will not progress. You live for yourself and not for them. You cannot abandon them. You cannot. Because the Brajbasis cannot abandon their parents. That is not possible. If you want to become a Brajbasi, if you want to go back to Krishna, you need to have this mentality. Otherwise you'll come back to learn the lesson. It is at that level that we're going back to Krishna, not less. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the most elevated is the one that does his services in Braj. A little less is the one, he was revealed who he is, and he meditates on the fact that he should be eternally in this way. But the third, he is conscious of nothing, of who he is eternally. but
il est abandonné à la déité.
he is surrendered to the deity.
Celui-là aussi.
This one
Pas
also,
les autres.
Krishna brings him
C'est le
back,
plus bas niveau.
not the others. This is the lowest
C'est
level.
pourquoi
That is why the worship of the deity
miséricorde.
is so
Même si
merciful.
vous êtes identifié
Even if you're
au corps,
identified to
mais
the
si
body,
vous vous
but if you
donnez complètement
give
pour
yourself
eux,
completely for them,
toute votre vie, chaque
all your
instant,
life, every
vous
moment,
revenez.
you are going back,
Même sans qualification.
even without qualification.
Mais si vous prenez un
But
moment
if you
pour
take a
vous,
moment for yourself
et que vous aimez
and you
avoir
love
votre vie,
to have your little life,
vous êtes pas
then
abandonné.
you're not
Vous n'avez
surrendered.
pas cette relation.
You do not have this
Un
relationship.
pujari,
A pujari,
très fort. Moi, j'ai rencontré,
it's very strong. Myself, I met
rarement des vrais
rarely
pujaris
true
qui
pujaris,
ne pouvaient pas passer un
but they could not
instant
spend one
sans
moment
savoir leur déité.
without serving their deities.
Ils dormaient en pensant
They were
à leur
sleeping
déité.
thinking
Ils
about their
se réveillaient
deities.
en
They were
pensant à
waking
leur
up
déité.
thinking
Jamais
about the
ils pouvaient les
deities.
abandonner.
Never they could
Même
abandon
en
them,
séparation.
even a moment.
Ils étaient toujours en
They were
séparation
always in separation
à travers leur service.
through their service. They put hours to prepare preparations, flower garlands, sandalwood pulp. Their life was a festival all the time. I saw people like that. These ones, they have gone back to Krishna, and still, it's not that they were conscious of their eternal reality. It's interesting. But they had taste, the taste to give their life. They had a relationship, and they had no problems, just absorbed. And they were sleeping very little. I remember it was impressive. Always seva, always seva, always seva. Service, service, service. Never they were complaining. Even when they were destroyed physically, they were saying, it is mercy. It is impressive. I saw people like that. These ones, they have their ticket. So, if we're not dedicated, what will we do in a transcendental world? You understand? It is a question of relationship. If you do not have a relationship with the deity, you will have a relationship with something else. So, if we're not a self-realized soul, it will be with desires. And when we develop material desires, then the deity becomes like a conflict. Oh, but how is that happening? I have things to do. There's a festival, for example. It will last 3 days. We come back, become materialist again. We have spoiled everything because we complain of serving. So, we should not, how to say, be a hypocrite. We have to understand that we will come back because we do not have this mentality of loving Krishna, of living for Him. And living for Krishna cannot be without the form of Krishna. That is why we must make things, paint for Krishna, do music for Krishna, sell books for Krishna, fundraise for Krishna. There are many ways of doing things. It is not simply being on the altar, but it is for them. And this is the most important point. Because if there's no relationship, there will be no separation. There will be no feelings. And the feelings, we will place them somewhere else. And we will come back. And this you have to understand it. And it's really important. You have time still to change. But do not complain. You will come back. Otherwise, you know deep within yourself. Because when Krishna brings us back, we know it. We know it. Because we cannot live without Him. We know it already. People who go back to Krishna, they know it. That is why it's not because we deceive ourselves that our feeling is wrongly directed, that because of that we feel nothing, we see nothing, we touch nothing of Krishna, about Krishna, but we must continue. We must recenter ourselves and relearn everything. It's like a rebirth in a same life. It's like another life in this life. We always have the time to redirect ourselves. But if you're centered on yourself and not on Krishna, then you will come back. Prabhupada explains this. Even when he says, most of my disciples, they want to be devas, demigods, and attain paradise, heaven. Well, of course, those who have forms with 4 arms, in Vaikuntha they can, from the heavenly planets after attain Vaikuntha, but those who have forms in Golak Vrindavan, they must come back on the earth, it's different. So, that is why we just need to do things for them to accept this relationship. They are the most important, not you. If you think that you are the most important, conflicts will come. You will not be able to stay together. You will leave and you will criticize. When we start in not loving our brothers and sisters, not so long ago, I heard a person say, oh, this person, if that person leaves, it's better. How can we have such thoughts? How can we be such a materialist and do service at the same time? Such a shame. We cannot have such thoughts by living together in such duplicity. Why? Because there's no relationship with the deities. We live for ourselves. Although we are here, we have sacrificed everything. There's something that we have not sacrificed. And because of that, we are frustrated. And because of that, there's no relationship. When there's a relationship, when you cook, you feel Krishna coming in the kitchen. Directly. This is the relationship. This is bhakti. When you do for Krishna, Krishna comes to see you. You feel that He is there. But when you feel He is there, after you don't criticize others, because it is incompatible. You are not in battles, jealousy. No. When Krishna comes, everything goes away. You're happy. You can accept everything and continue. This is the proof. If a devotee continues, even if there are all these difficulties, it is because he or she feels something, maybe at a small level, but that person feels something. But if we give ourselves completely and we understand our sacrifice, but we direct it completely towards the relationship with the deities, then Krishna comes. That is why the deity is important. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, where there's the deity isn't present, the worshippers are materialists. They have material desires. They worship God for material desire. That is why we must meditate on the deity. How a cook, for example, could just cook without thinking about the deities, without having feelings, without having a relationship. It's not possible. We cook for the deities, for Gopal, for Nanda Maharaj, for Yashoda. We are their servants. How would that be possible? But if we cook with this consciousness, how could we not see the nature of people that are around us, that were called like us to go back to Krishna? So if we don't love our brothers and sisters, that means that we do not cook with this consciousness, that these are symptoms. So we must progress. We must ask forgiveness to Krishna, to the deities, and pray to them. Help me to have devotion. Help me to have a relationship with you. I am tired of myself. I am the problem, not the others. The one who has a relationship, it's constant holidays. It's constant love. It's constant joy. It's a reality. We are so fortunate because we do what we want to do, serving Krishna. In the material world, you cannot do this. But Krishna comes in this form. He knows who will come. He knows everything. And He gives us the possibility to do an eternal activity. This is a devotee. He doesn't work. He loves. He does service. And that service is a service of love. It's not a work for money. A materialist, he doesn't work without money. We work freely because it is out of love that we do a service. And this is our return to Krishna. This is what Prabhupada gave us. That is why our service must be uninterested, but love, unmotivated. So unmotivation for us is love. This is pure devotion. And it is something that comes gradually in the life of a devotee. It is a meditation. Well, of course, there are some who cannot hear. They have like ears full of anyway, buds and blocking everything. And they will never put into practice. It is their misfortune. But those who have decided to unplug their ears and put this reality in their heart, then they progress. We must always understand one thing, and it is important. We cannot stay in ignorance. The truth can come at any time, but it is us who must desire it. Srila Prabhupada taught us, when we do one step towards Krishna, Krishna does 10, He does 100. And it is very interesting, because Prabhupada, he encouraged so much his devotees. One day, the devotees, they asked these questions to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, will we recognize you when we'll go to the spiritual world? And Prabhupada gave two types of answers. With this group, he said, yes, we will recognize each other. And once he was massaged by Dhananjaya, and Prabhupada told him that when you will go back to Krishna, you will not be able to recognize me, because I will not have an old man body, but a young boy. It's interesting. We forget everything about our previous life, but simply we are in our eternal reality with our leader, that is Prabhupada, with an unimaginable beauty, and we ourselves have an unimaginable beauty. Simply we know each other eternally. It is just like there was never any separation. That is why this realization of our eternal reality is much more strong, even from the physical meeting through material bodies. Because in the transcendental world, we never left Prabhupada. We know him eternally. It is just like we never left. That is why this question is asked when there's no transcendental experience. But when the transcendental experience is there, then we understand that naturally we recognize each other, one another. So that is why Prabhupada have both answers at two levels. Thank you very much.